There's also something called communication, and when somebody intentionally withholds something and forces somebody to play guessing games, that's not fun. It's only fun for who is intentionally withholding stuff from somebody else, and it's just like when I was a child and I said no, I don't want to play anymore. But basically, I wasn't having fun. I didn't want to be around him. It's just like, no. It's just like when somebody told me that I had to sleep in a bed with him, that his mother would be upset if I slept in a different bedroom, in a different bed. I said, okay, hold on, I'll be out in a few minutes. And I went ahead and I'd already gotten ready to go to sleep. I mean, I was tired. And I went ahead and got got my clothes on and grabbed my keys, and I literally went running out of the place. And then he just sat there and acted stupid about what he had done, and I'm just like, what was really irritating is that my car was on what I call as E fumes. It's when I didn't have any gasoline. I didn't even know where any gasoline stations were or anything else like that. But I was like, I'm not gonna stay. I'm not gonna be sleeping in the bed with him. uh, and that's an example of basically a pathological liar, but also somebody that was up to no good, and somebody that wanted to minimize what their intentions were. I mean, I literally had a teacher. Uh, r- r- uh, I was on what is called the men's golf team because there wasn't a women's golf team, and a teacher literally refused to stop the bus for me to go pee, and told me that I could go out in the woods with the guys to go pee. I mean, just imagine how quickly I had to run off the bus. I was just like, hell no, I'm not going to go out there in the woods with a bunch of guys and go pee with a bunch of guys. It's just like, are you out of your effing mind? Uh, but I think back on the stuff, it's just like, and then when I end up reading what's written about the problems with basically not being allowed to go pee and how it has an adverse impact on I forgot what the name of the body part is, but it's just like, I mean, it's just it causes all sorts of problems. But and that's just it. So for a teacher to pull that kind of shit on me, uh, I mean, it's just like there's a reason why I don't want anything to do with him and most of the ones that went to that school. I mean that. It's just like when I was being spit on by one of them, and the different ones on the bus that saw it happen just sat there and acted stupid. And I also told the school bus driver, who was the teacher, what had happened and just acted dumb. And I'm just like, but once again, that was a choice that the different ones made. Choosing to act blind when they're not blind, choosing to act dumb when they're not dumb, choosing to act deaf when they're not deaf. choosing to be assholes. I mean, there was one place when I went to work, and when I look at the crap that happened, but basically, I was told that I had to take something back, and it was a used sex toy, and I was not even given a pair of rubber gloves to use. And I just was like, how gross is that? I mean, I was literally bit, like my skin broken open and everything at one of the places where I went to work, and I mean, I kept saying, talking about, well, so and so's a real problem. So and so keeps biting people. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the assistant school principal got bit, it's like, where's so and so? Oh, they're at the hospital. So and so bit them. And sometimes I said, oh, so it's only, so basically only her life is important, and it didn't matter when I got bit. I mean, just imagine the shitty evaluations that I got. I mean, it's just like, I'm proud of my shitty evaluations. Maybe I planted a seed in their head, in their little chia pots. Maybe the next time uh, somebody goes to work and gets bit, maybe it's important for 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 all people, not just uh, basically to be able to go to a medical doctor. But because when people bite people, that is supposed to be one of the nastiest. Um, it, basically, there's certain diseases that are done that deal with people being bit, and it's just I'm not trying to give any psychopath any ideas. Oh, I was bit at a college party, and the one just sat there and laughed about me being bit, and I just was like, I didn't go back. That was at a rugby party, and I was like, I mean, imagine medical doctors sitting there and playing rugby and having their heads beat against somebody else's head and basically fracturing their skulls. I'm like, oh shit, that's a medical doctor that's doing that. I'm just like, what the fuck? Excuse my French. And in fact, I was reading something dealing with headbutts, and it goes back way back when, and it deals with different tribes and different types of animals. And I was thinking about Beavis and Butthead, and I'm like, oh shit. I mean, talk about a play on words, but it I just it's kind of weird, some of the junk I end up reading, but it's like, I think I've been trying to figure out stuff my whole life. It's just like, what in the heck? Isn't that weird? Just getting to the point, it's just like, I mean, it's just like the ones that laugh about having rotten fruits. It's like, wow. Is that what the Bible was talking about the darnel? Imagine, uh, uh, imagine thinking it's funny to have somebody take one of them's photo and sit in front of a love statue as if to intentionally put love behind them, like they're incapable of loving. I mean, when I look at some of the subliminal crap, and it's just like, wow, when I grow up, I want to be as unloving as possible. And I'm like, I mean, who would imagine somebody doing something like that? Normal people don't sit on their ass when somebody is being harmed and go, let's act deaf. That's not normal. Uh, that is most definitely not normal behavior. I don't have to be a behavioral psychologist or whatever. In fact, one of the ones, I don't know if he's still in charge of the marriage and family department or not. But think about it, lecture, giving a lecture. I'm gonna lecture you. I just look at this stuff. It's like, what if I lectured him back? But talking about sucking the middle toe, having his middle toe sucked if that got his partner off, and then next time it would be his turn to take turns and all that kind of shit. So so I had him admit that he was saying that sex was like being on a playground, and I said, so what you're telling me then is sex is like being on a playground. And he was like, all right, somebody gets it. And I said, so what you're telling me to do is if the class bully wants to come up and hit me on the playground, I'm supposed to let him do that to me. It reminds me of another thing that basically I had to go to. And they were talking about basically beginning the education of children at an earlier age and all this other kind of stuff. Everybody's mad. I said, I've never been good at history, but it seems to me as if what you're speaking about is it's kind of like what they did in Nazi Germany with the Hitler Youth and take the children away from their parents as soon as possible. And all of a sudden they started looking up. Like, who is that? And it was amazing how many people there were around me. I never thought about it that way. And I was like, I better not ask them if they have any neurons that are capable of synapsing. It's just like one of them. I'm not gonna go into that smart aleck. He basically, I mean, I got copies of the Rockefeller Institute manual dealing with the pandemic. And I ended up making copies and I ended up handing them out and presenting them to the ones in public office with keys to government buildings that I don't have. And after I got through, basically I said, did everybody either get a copy of such and such, or a copy of the such and such pages. I said, if you didn't raise your hand, and nobody raised their hand, I said, good. I said, then nobody, then everybody has a copy. And then and then basically I explained to him how it was premeditated, and how they talked about different catastrophes and tragedies and stuff, whatever it was that they had already pre-planned. And then one of them came to me and told me that I scared him. I said, how do I scare you? I said, I'm not the one that's bringing loaded guns into a government building. I gave one copy to a was a retired chief of police, and another one that was on the other side of the aisle. Basically, it's kind of like two wings to the same vulture. But anyhow, when I look at the stuff, I mean, what a shame. I mean, they've been caught adding whatever it is, dumping stuff into the air before big storms. They've been caught screwing around with levees before they just miraculously broke. And I mean, it's just like, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody in their right frame of mind do something like that? Oh, well, I mean, I have no intention of murdering myself, but when I look at the stuff, it's like, well, I mean, that's the reason why they sent out stuff to basically trash me, trash my reputation. I'll take it a step further. I'm pretty sure that I know who did it. I don't have to know for a fact who did it, but I mean, the guy has a copier, has a place to print off all sorts of postcards. I wonder who could be smiling in my face and stabbing me in the back. Just sitting there and acting stupid. And that's the reason why I talked about the word friend and enemy put together, frenemy. And one of them basically comes and does the, writes down the first three letters of somebody's name, and I mean, the first two letters, the first letter of somebody's name, and then ended it with the word enemy. Oh, well, let me just disclose after the fact. I mean, I'm just like, but that was another vampire that I've cut loose. In fact, what I need to do is figure out relatininemy. relatives who are enemies, relatinemy. Relativinemy. Ugh, can't even pronounce it. Hold on. Relativity. Crap. Relative enemy. Relative enemies. That's the plural form of a relative enemy. Isn't that just so bad? RELATIVENEMY. Politinomy. When somebody is so toxic, and it's just like, but basically, people already know who is toxic in their life, and they don't need to go to just take out a piece of paper, put down pros and cons. That basically, when somebody only wants to use somebody, that's not a friend. When somebody wants to take unfair advantage of somebody, that's not a friend. When somebody wants to con somebody and hoodwink somebody, that's not a friend. When somebody basically, when a man or a woman makes a choice that they can they aren't vampires. They don't hoodwink. They don't con. They don't take unfair advantage of people. They don't intentionally keep books and samples and classes away from people. When I'm talking about samples, I mean like samples on how to fill out UCC forms and other things. But basically, good people don't brag about having rotten fruits and think that's the way to be. Good people don't laugh at people. good people don't try to provoke people, and there's a whole list of different things. And the thing is, the ones that sat there and have hazed me, I'm not going to even go talk to them about hazing me, bullying me, gaslighting me, minimizing what I talked about, and all that kind of stuff. That would be wasting the air in my lungs. It's just like a medical doctor that refuses to write me prescriptions for breathing medicine. Nothing important, just breathing medicine. Who is the one with a problem? A cocky ass doctor with grandiose narcissism who's violating original Hippocratic oath and harming me. But even then, what it is studies have shown that emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. I'm not saying that abuse is good at all. It's abuse is not good, but all I'm getting at is the real reason why the ones end up doing the gaslighting and the minimizing and playing head games with people is it doesn't leave scars. There's no physical evidence of the harm that's been done. Of the premeditated harm and destroying people. And by people, I mean a man or a woman. It could be a man minor, a woman minor, a man the age of majority, or a woman the age of majority. An example of that is neglecting to educate and thinking it's okay to write something called the deliberate dumbing down of America. They came through the Department of Education. That's the reason why I'm like, I just when I think about how they're cherry picking Bible verses like confess sins one upon another, it's just like that dog don't hunt with me. Uh-uh. And that was written. I wasn't there, so I guess I would have to insert the word allegedly. Uh, and in fact, there's a lot of times that technically speaking, I should have. Uh, it's like being told had to, need to, or being forced to. That's where I should have been put down as forced to against my will to do such and such by, and just gone ahead and listed who was in the room that was forcing me to do something. And when I look back at it, that's it's almost like they wrote the stuff on domestic violence, like isolation, like financial control, like just the different stuff. I mean, There's something called the domestic violence wheel, and I forgot. I don't know if it was developed in a place called Wellesley, Massachusetts, or where it was, but I just it's just like somebody playing dodgeball and refusing to uh I don't even want to use I don't want to use the analogy of playing dodgeball. Carl Rogers uh was a was he a psychotherapist, but um he used what was called reflective listening techniques. And I cannot emphasize enough about reading the top 10 professions that psychopaths go into. That was done by Kevin Dutton's research studies, whatever you want to call them. I mean, I've had someone brag to me about how smart they are. Malevolent narcissist, grandiose narcissist, grandiose narcissist, grandiose narcissist. but, but, but what is it a grandiose narcissist would hang out with? Other grandiose narcissists. And what's very creepy is what is a grandiose narcissist who's into eugenics? What would they do? Want to eliminate people who don't have a certain IQ or a certain grade point average or a certain whatever. Hmm. I wonder which which grandiose narcissist I'm picturing in my mind right now.